In the dim corridors of horror cinema, two shadowy figures stand apart, Nosferatu, 1922, and Nosferatu the Vampire, 1979. Born decades apart but drawn from the same well of dread, Bram Stoker's Dracula, they mirror each other like a nightmare echoing across time. One silent and spectral, the other brooding and philosophical. But as the mist clears, the question lingers. Which of these haunting visions leaves the deeper scar? It all began when German studio Prana Film took a daring leap in 1922. They had a vision, to craft a film steeped in the supernatural, with Dracula as its spine. But rights be damned. Literally, they moved forward without permission, tweaking names and shuffling details just enough to claim it as their own. Thus, Nosferatu, a symphony of horror, was born. It was moody, expressionistic, and visually unforgettable. But its release sparked a legal battle with Stoker's heirs, one that gutted the studio and almost erased the film from history. Only a few copies slipped through the cracks of time, preserving a ghost story that refused to die. Then, over half a century later, Werner Herzog stepped into the frame. In 1979, he approached Nosferatu not with the aim to modernize it, but to reawaken it. His version, Nosferatu the Vampire, wasn't so much a remake as it was a cinematic seance. Herzog restored the names from the original novel, embraced the iconic look of the monstrous vampire, now played with eerie conviction by Klaus Kinski, and painted the screen with plague, shadows, and longing. But Herzog didn't simply recreate. He infused the story with a mournful humanity, a desire to understand the lonely creature at its core. The result? A film more dramatic, more philosophical, but also one that often conflicted with its own horror. Its beauty sometimes dulled the terror. The haunting immediacy of the silent original gave way to a slower, more reflective pace. So which version haunts better? Murnau's 1922 Nosferatu may have been forged in the infancy of cinema, but it wielded its limitations like sharpened teeth. Without sound, it relied on light, shadow, and stark imagery to dig beneath the skin. F.A. Wagner's cinematography shaped a world where dread lived in every corner, where fear wasn't just shown, it was felt. These visual techniques would go on to define Murnau's legacy, echoed in later masterworks like The Last Laugh. Herzog, in contrast, had the luxury of sound, color, and budget. His cinematographer, Georg Schmidt-Reitwein, delivered shots of sweeping beauty and controlled melancholy. But that visual poetry often softened the edges. The fear became romantic, the terror introspective. What was once primal and jagged now felt polished and pondered. Even when compared to Universal's 1931 Dracula, with Bela Lugosi's iconic cape and stare, Murnau's film still looms large. Lugosi gave us the vampire as gentleman predator, and Todd Browning's direction followed the Broadway blueprint with stage-bound loyalty. But it was Murnau who truly conjured something unshakable, an atmosphere so suffocating, it felt like a fever dream one never fully wakes from. In the end, Nosferatu, 1922, is the one that lingers, not just in memory but in the bones. It's the shadow on the wall that doesn't belong to anything. Herzog's version is a tribute, at times a beautiful one, but the original remains the true symphony of horror, a film that crawls under your skin and stays there, silent and eternal.